Every celebrity in the book and about 1 million views for Bob Huggins' trailer is quite impressive, but there have been the usual suspects that are kind of silent on this topic. We'll go into why that is.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host here. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking Mountaineer hoops tonight, and glad to be doing so. So thankful for you to be here on this live edition of Locked On West Virginia. You know, at the end of the day, guys, it's Paul After Dark, and we're going to have fun with it like we have the last couple of weeks. We've been doing a lot of these. They've done well. It doesn't seem to be impacting the numbers at all, so we'll continue to do them. I mean, my schedule's kind of aligned with this night owl kind of thing going on right now, so we're going to keep doing it. Thanks for making us your first listen, number one. Number two, I got a guest, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight into this because I think it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about West Virginia basketball going to UCF. What's that game looking like? We'll talk about a little, maybe touch on the Texas Tech loss a little bit. And what does West Virginia do to get in the tournament? But first, we have to talk about the Bob Huggins situation because I think it just needs to be – I need to vent a little bit, and Josh is basically just along for the ride hostage. Speaking of that, here's Josh.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
No, pretty good, man. So this is Josh Witt, and can you tell everybody what you do, man?
I do a little podcast with the Smoking Musket called Unreasonable Doubt. Do episodes after each game during the season and weekly, bi-weekly shows in the off season. Listen to it wherever you listen to the podcast. One man's opinion on what goes on with WVU basketball.
I consider the opinion. The opinion.
That's not a opinion held by many, but I appreciate that, Paul.
I mean, honestly, man, and I've seen people say this, talent-wise, you're definitely right there at the very top of people that have opinions like this. I know you hate this, but it's true. I consider you a very talented conversationalist on topics about West Virginia basketball specifically. So I consider you a go-to guy. And listen, you set my expectations immediately the last time we were on together, saying you would be in your hole and you wouldn't be able to come on very much. So I knew, like, you reached out the other day because I had to share something with viral where you reach out to me. So here we are.
You're spilling the dirty laundry on the live. Come on,
I'm kidding. Well,
no, all good.
In jest, of course.
All
so
good.
I guess that's a pretty good segue, because I would have you on every week if I could. I think this is a very nuanced situation, Josh. I mean, it just is, right? But I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. People care about this issue, right? And I was very fortunate to interview the people that are doing this thing, and it now has close to 1 million views. It's crazy to think that this thing has over 692 quote retweets, 2.8 thousand likes, and just a whole host of other things. So, you start to look at the people that have chimed in on this. Miles McBride, can't wait for y'all to get this one. Always brought the best out in me, and he's got the GOAT. You've got Tim Brando. He's called Huggy Bear for a reason. He genuinely loved his guys, the game, and people met, including broadcasters. As for whatever mistakes he made, he'd be the first to say, I'm working on it. Can't wait to see this. I saw him in 24 after a game and got a hug. You've got Corey Blunt from the 92 Final Four team, Cincinnati. Had a bless finalizing the doc with Huggins family and Mountaineer Paul. This is going to be incredible, says Frank Martin, the former Kansas State, obviously Huggins coaching tree. Sort of a man's man, getting out of bed every day to elevate the lives of others, never ran away from his own mistakes. Brett McMurphy, putting the fire emojis. Bruce Pearl, one of the best men to ever do what we do. It was always about the kids. He cared about the game and our profession, treated coaches at every level with respect. Can't wait to see this. And he tagged the Big 12 Conference. And then Eric Stevenson, the fire emoji, one of the greats, lucky to have been able to spend time under his leadership. Last but not least, you've got Dan Wetzel, who has close to 500,000 followers on X from ESPN. A great journalist, senior writer there. Bob Huggins' doc is coming. So, Josh, I think it's pretty safe to say that this touched a nerve with everybody in the college basketball community / world. And most everybody talked about it. I looked, Skylar Callahan did an article, Mike Osti did an article, several people did. But the core cogs I would consider the university, which is like your sports, which is, WestVirginiaSports.com. On the On3 side of things, as well as the university themselves, have not touched this thing with the 10-foot pole. And, I'm not attacking anybody at all. I'm just curious. The question is why, and I guess my question to you, Josh, is speculating, obviously. Do you think it's just wounds haven't healed yet? What is your thoughts?
It's easy to draw the line, Paul, on why the university hasn't chimed in on what is essentially what's being viral is a reaction to the trailer for a documentary that's coming out. So that is that a news story? I'm not sure. As far as it's, I think the excitement of people wanting to see that and Huggins having that backing and love on the internet and by people who appreciated what he did, his colleagues. Loyalty is a word that Bob Huggins uses a bunch, and you can see that in the backing and what you're seeing online. He's got his guys, and you would expect that. And he's got his coaching folks that he's either worked with or worked alongside. Totally makes sense. It's easy for me to draw the line, Paul, on why the university hasn't spoken up on this. In that it was a forced resignation, and it's been we're on 3 years out. It's 2013, right? Or 2023. So that's not a ton of time. And we don't have to get into the mess that happened after the resignation, but just, lawyers involved and back and forth. And there was real drama after the fact. So that's an easy line for me to make as far as why the university would be silent. You hear the term too soon. It is too soon for the university based on not only what went down in the summer of 2023, but even the aftermath. It wasn't a clean break without getting into specifics. And if you want to, we can, but I totally get that, why there's silence from the university standpoint.
Yeah, I get why there is. Don't know if I agree with it, but I get why there is. I think in this day and age, obviously things have gotten a little better. Whenever things happened when they did, it was a bad time to have any kind of incident like that publicly. Worse than it is now, I think, for the most part, although those things are never okay. But I think as far as Hugs goes, there's a lot of positive to draw from this. He's getting a lot of flowers and he's getting a lot of love. I think he's probably missed that. He deserves it. I say this all the time. I mean, whenever this all happened, it was really hard for me, Josh, personally, because I look at my own personal story and I think, I've been to prison 4 times, I'm the kind of person that can't judge anybody. So for me to look at a situation like this with a judgmental eye is impossible. So I guess it's probably why it makes it harder for me to not get because I've had to forgive so much, and that includes myself. It does start with self most of the time. So I guess for me, it's like, man, words can hurt, absolutely. And I wasn't in the position he was in. And obviously drinking and driving is another monster. They're definitely huge things. but I still think forgiveness is totally fine. And I think that, coming to terms, it doesn't have to be an ongoing thing, but giving him his moment before he's gone is, to me, is something that needs to happen. I don't know if it will. I think the person that was most responsible for all that is now gone, apparently having cameramen attacked. By the way, if you didn't see that, Gordon Gee had a cameraman attacked the other day. Yeah, this is a viral moment that's going on too right now. Gordon Gee was speaking at a place. A guy was trying to film it, and somebody literally knocked that guy unconscious. While
Wow.
Gordon Gee was, yeah, crazy situation. So, but from my understanding, Gordon had a lot to do with a lot of that. He wasn't happy with it. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but so I think I guess my expectation was possibly would some healing happen after he left, but it hasn't, at least so far. Your thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, well, what it is, Paul, a couple of things when you say that, and you have your perspective and your life story and what you bring to that, and some of the things that how that's viewed through your life story and what you've experienced. I would say two things. One, when Ross Hodge was introduced to be the WVU head coach, one of the guys he mentioned as far as how WVU basketball gets to a point where he's able to jump in and it feel like a prestigious job. He mentioned Bob Huggins. Like that wasn't excluded. He's worthy of that. He is the reason that the program has had the success it's had in the 21st century. And then the other thing I'd say is that time heals wounds, and 3 years, and you don't get to choose how long that takes, but it does take time. And my guess, this is speculation, Paul, I think there's time on both sides. Where Huggins is still in the Morgantown area, still going to games sometimes. Also seen in Huntington, like at different places, but he's still in the community and he's still there. But the things that happened after his resignation, and we don't have to get into how he gets to be forced to resign, but just how that went and the aftermath of that kind of back and forth before things died down.
Whose email was it? Was it the wife? The whole thing.
Yeah, but just
it was weird.
Of that, it was weird, and 3 years to me doesn't feel long enough. I get the sentiment of giving people flowers when they're still here, but also both sides have to feel better about that. I mean, you're right. New president, but there's other people that are still at the university. Like that's one position.
Right. I will say, in speaking with the people that made this, Hugs is still really hurt too. So, like
he might not be ready. I think that's both ways. Yeah.
Like, I think I'd asked somebody, why isn't he back in coaching? And he said, well, he doesn't want to deal with those university types really anymore. So that's a big reason for it. But it's been fun, obviously, for me as somebody that was just a conduit for this message to happen. Like, I take absolutely no credit. All I did was just type and hit send what I was told to type, basically. So it has nothing to do with me. Anybody could have put that out and it would have went viral, probably went more viral if somebody with even bigger following would put it out or something, or Hugs himself. God, who knows? If I can put it out and it gets 1 million views, what would happen if Hugs would have put it out? But I do feel really great. I mean, I do feel really grateful that they let me do that. That was an awesome thing for me personally. And I'm obviously kind of basking in it a little bit. To be honest, whenever I was able to interview those guys and, just the whole thing, Hugs invited me to the premiere. Like, come on, man, like pinch me, so as a West Virginia fan, I will be there, by the way. Come hell or high water, I'll be at that premiere with my camera, by the way. I'll be filming that. That'll be content. So we got to get to break here. I'm going to let Josh do what he does best after the break, and that's tell me why West Virginia is going to win a national championship. We'll be right back. And guys, we got to talk about our friends at Mazda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. The WNBA has released its 2026 schedule featuring a 44-game regular season beginning on Friday, May 8th. The league's historic 30th season includes expansion teams Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, with opening weekend highlights such as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever hosting Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings, and a rematch of the 2025 finals between the Aces and the Mercury. In college hoops, South Carolina handed Vanderbilt its first loss of the season with a dominant 103-74 win. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
It's segment 2, and I crack a do to you, Josh, because anytime I can get you on the show, it's a good day. So thank you for being here, man. West Virginia goes on the road to UCF in a game that on paper looks like a pretty tough game. I think, you remember, and I remember when West Virginia it looked like there was some momentum for them as Sparks at a point in time for West Virginia. Riley Kugel is one of the better players in the league that nobody talks about. And then you look up and down what they've got going on with Stillwell and company too. They've been really good. 17-6. They're 6-5 in the league like we are. They're a pretty high scoring team. They shoot a decently high field goal percentage as well. They're a good 3-point shooting team. I wouldn't say they're Texas Tech, but they are good. They're right around 37-38%. What's your take on this UCF team, and does West Virginia have a chance on the road here? Is this similar to maybe the Arizona State game, or would you say it's a level up?
It's a level up, and the only reason I say that is some of the wins that Central Florida has. I mean, that Texas A&M win looks better and better. I mean, the buckyball is in full swing in year one there at Texas A&M. And it's confounding, Paul, because they have West Virginia and UCF, the only teams to give Kansas a Big 12 loss. They beat. It's wild. They beat they beat Texas Tech.
They beat Kansas, and
they've done that at home. And their only 2 home losses are to Vanderbilt, really good, and Arizona. Only defeated once. They have a chance, but here's my concern, Paul, is that you've looked at the stats like I have. Their profile statistically, haven't watched a ton of Knights basketball this year. It kind of looks like Baylor. Good offense, good offensive numbers.
High tempo,
kind of iffy. High tempo, and Baylor came in and looked like the Virginia Cavaliers on defense against West Virginia and held them to under 60 points. So, and they did that because of the length that they have and the athleticism that they have.
Absolutely.
And so I would assume Central Florida is the same thing. And that big kind of red flag I see is what you said, Paul, as far as their 3-point shooting. We've watched this West Virginia team this year, and they are susceptible to teams having great nights shooting the 3.
I was going to ask you, why do you think that is?
Oh, I mean,
because these are guarded, contested shots.
No, I agree. And so just like those Virginia teams, what could be the Achilles heel is you could shoot over the defense. And West Virginia has not gotten help. You don't want to say unlucky, but teams, especially in Big 12 play, but we even saw it in the Campbell game where teams are just able to get threes off on them and hit them at a great clip. You would in the our friend Neil Brown, everything evens out. You would hope that the stats would even out for West Virginia, where a team would have an off night, where even if they're getting open looks,
It
that they
hasn't
miss a few
happened
of them.
yet.
And it has. We're 20-some games in, Paul. It has not happened. So that's my fear. And they don't shoot. Central Florida doesn't shoot a ton of threes, but they are top 40 in the country in 3-point percentage. That's a neon light. For West Virginia, based on what we've seen so far this year.
It has to be West Virginia's length. That's the only thing I can think of. West Virginia's length is just not what teams are normally used to seeing on the wings. You know, like you don't have a Devin Ebanks and Wellington Smith on this team that's going to be impossible to shoot over. Like you've got Honor Huff, who is a good Honor Huff. If he was 3 inches taller, would be a first round NBA pick, right? Like, you know, well, maybe 4 inches tall, but I mean, you know, if he was 6'3", for instance, in my opinion, he would be, because he's such a good defender too for his size. You know, obviously great effort, stays in front of guys so well, much more physical than you would ever imagine a guy his size could be. But he doesn't, you can only do what you can do. And the same thing when the reverse happens, you know, if he's off the ball in a screen situation, the hedge guy, usually really physical with him, and they just both go with him in a lot of cases and do the old hugs where the hugs where it was the random, hey, we're going to spring a trap on you kind of thing. And they do that to him all the time. Or if he's got the ball and the screen's coming, it doesn't matter, you know, because the hedge guy doesn't even pay attention to whoever's screening. It's just get on her huff, force the ball out of his hands. And now you've got a guy that's 5'10", 5'11", if you're lucky, surrounded by 2 6'6", 6'8", 6'9" guys, whatever, or, you know, a 6'2" guy and a 6'8" guy. It's tough for him because our team is really bad for standing around and not moving sometimes as well. So, like, there's just a bunch of things that happen. But basically, the formula is just get the ball out of his hands at all costs and make West Virginia beat you another way. And I don't, you know, outside of Brendan Lorient, I don't know if West Virginia has another guy that could really go off on his own. Trey has at times, but it's at this point, we have enough data to say, I don't trust that.
Well, and you see what Hodge is trying to do. He's, you know, it's not Jasper Floyd bringing the ball down. It's the ball is in Huff's hands and starting the offense and trying to create early.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to kind of eliminate the, hey, I'm going to get face guarded, we can't even give him the ball. So he's getting the ball in his hands. And we see pockets, Paul, where he's able to create with his speed, but he's getting inside the 3-point line. And then somebody's, he's getting the double and he's able to pass. And that leads to a good shot or even the next pass after that. So, but it comes in pockets. It's not full blown, and the other team can adjust, and they're doing different things too. It's just we've got our West Virginia's leading scorer has had 4 out of the last 5 halves of basketball where he hasn't scored a field goal. It's only the second half at Cincinnati that he's went off, and so both.
What a breakdown they have.
Yeah, our leading scorer. It's like. Is being held scoreless. That both can't be true. And so then it's like, then you lean on the rest of the team. And Lorient was great over the weekend. Eagle staff has his moments, but it hasn't been there for him either, candidly, in the last few games. And so maybe this bye week helps them regroup. Hodge plays a short bench. So getting this rest, see if we can get a surge. I'm on the team. See if West Virginia can get a surge here late with a little bit of rest and some fresh legs and see what it looks like. Because it is the same team that scored 80+ against Kansas. Same
For
guys.
sure.
So, it's there when you think about what's changed, besides people getting wise to getting the ball out of Huff's hands, is how much energy do they have, and maybe the bye's coming at a good time. You could hope.
I will say this, and here's another reason I think West Virginia will be better this week versus them is if you look at who West Virginia's played, right? And it's been who's who of elite defenses, right? Like Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Baylor, even Kansas State has a good defense. Arizona, obviously, Houston, Kansas, Cincinnati, Iowa State. Like there is even Clemson's a top 20 defense. So when you start to look at that, of course, every team in the Big 12 has that issue. But a team like West Virginia specifically that's offensively challenged, it magnifies it a bit. I think you have to factor in who West Virginia has played lately when you're considering some of these issues, because how many good performances does anybody have versus Cincinnati and Texas Tech on offense? Most of the time it's pretty rough, especially when it's Texas Tech. And I don't know. I mean, Baylor too, right? Their defense has been pretty decent. UCF, not so much, right? Like looking at their defensive metrics, not really that good. Josh, have you seen them?
I have, and it reminds me of Baylor. I mean, Baylor. Well, I'm telling you, like they BYU put 99 on them. Baylor, the Oklahoma State. They beat Oklahoma State by 15, but they gave 97 up to TCU.
That's a really good offensive team in Oklahoma State.
It is, and they like to play fast. So I'm sure that was a track meet. But TCU scored 97 on them, and I haven't seen a lot of Horned Frogs, but like so when you see UCF give up 92 to Cincinnati, that West Virginia held in 2 games to what what Cincinnati's metrics say as far as offense. It's hard. It's like
gives
a puzzle.
You some hope.
It gives you some hope, but it's like, how can both be true? How can that Cincinnati team? I mean, Sincere Harris got a 3 on him, Paul, and we know. And I love Sincere Harris.
I swear, if we go Saturday and Honor Huff doesn't get a 3, but Sincere Harris did, I'm shutting this podcast down. I'm shutting it down.
Yeah.
If Sincere Harris and this can get a 3 and Honor Huff cannot, then it's just not meant to be this year for us. But we got to get to one more break.
Yep.
We'll come back and we'll finish this up real quick. All right, guys, we got to talk about our friends, and we do love our friends, man. If I can get him off the screen here. All right, so we got to talk about our friends at, you guys know it, you guys love it. It's TurboTax time. And with TurboTax, guys, they do some pretty cool stuff too, like help you with your taxes, right? It's definitely something that you're going to want, you're going to need this season, because with TurboTax, like I said, man, they are not playing any games with you. Got to get it done. And right now, the big thing is this: tax season doesn't have to take over your life, because it's making it easier than ever to hand things off and go about your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without stress or guesswork. And it's a huge time saver. It really gives peace of mind knowing the expert is handling that for you. And they do handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms. And they do work to give you every single deduction you need. For a limited time, you can drive your taxes, have them done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150, all in, baby. And if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take TurboTaxes and get taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. And he is the legendary Josh Witt from the Unreasonable Doubt podcast. Absolutely crushing it on audio, especially.
Exclusively. Outside of coming out of my cave to come here and join you, Paul.
Yeah, you've definitely come out of the cave. So we're talking West Virginia basketball still. Did you have any thoughts on football off season? We hadn't really. But before we get to, are you prepared to talk football, or are you just really on basketball?
I mean, I can give you the outside perspective because I'm not a football guy. I kind of moan and complain about the turnover on the basketball side with coaches and players.
Yeah,
brother, I don't know how you do it on the football side. I mean, it It is obsession, but it's just like I think I did a episode in the off season last year on the basketball side. I just straight up made up names and profiles of people. Just made up names. Like he averaged 14 and 8, and he was at in Texas at a junior college. And I did that because the exercise is, how can you know everybody that's in the transfer portal, everybody that's out there? And with everybody swirling, it's hard to keep track of it, Paul, from the outside. And so I'm glad you all are doing it, and you've got the names and you're keeping track and you're watching film. As an outside observer, it's like I got to keep track of how many changes, Paul, this offseason. How many new guys on the roster? 70?
A little over 80 if you
80.
count JUCO, high school, and portal.
I mean, that is insane to keep track of, much less figure out. I know you've talked about what people are saying as far as early impressions, where they stack up in the league, how you rank the classes. I think that's so difficult just based on the numbers. It's just
it is.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just there's a lot of hopium involved. There's a lot of copium involved. But a lot of it is learning from past mistakes too, right? Like I've only been doing this publicly for a couple years, 3-4 years. So learning from past mistakes, learning where not to be as big of a homer and where not to have such big expectations, like on junior college players and D2 players, like, because one, as a what I call a hobbyist of watching film, like I know what I'm looking at. I can tell what coverage it is. I can tell what scheme the offense ran or whatever. But like, could I call out the play on a whiteboard? Hell no. Like none of that. more so because I played the sport and I've been around it my whole life, and I have a lot of coaches in my family. I'm better at like specifically what positionally people should be doing technically, like, and knowing what that's supposed to look like generally. So like what I'll do is I'll watch for those things, and that's kind of what I like to break down. But like when you get a junior college guy that's really good, it's like he's definitely like maybe he's group of 5 good even, right? When you get a guy that's good enough to play group of 5 in junior college, and he can look like Tavon Austin some nights. And some of my earlier mistakes was like just not reading all into that as much because they look so good compared to the competition. It's really hard to judge sometimes, so that's probably been the most difficult thing, is like learning how to evaluate a guy when the competition's, not what you think it is. Because like in my mind, junior college is all like D1 bounce backs. Like there's a lot of guys that are talented on those teams, but it sounds, I've learned it's like there might be 4 or 5 guys on every team that are really that good. The Hutchinson team that West Virginia got 6 players from one team in junior college this year. They went to the national championship, which is
okay.
Actually, they got 7 because they got one from the other team that won it just the other day. But yeah, they got 2 defensive backs and 3 defensive linemen off that team, so they got 5 players. Yeah, crazy. So, anyways, real quick on the basketball thing. UCF West Virginia. Give me a key and give me a prediction.
I think we've already talked about the key. I think it's defensively for West Virginia, 3-point output they can hold UCF to. That's the key defensively. Offensively, you've got to have some scoring, specifically scoring from Honor Huff and Trace and Eaglestaff. I think you need at least one, but you'd want to have both. So that's what I'm looking for as the keys on both sides. It's just, Paul, it's tough to win on the road for West Virginia to even get to the bubble. They've got to pull at least another road win. The more the merrier. Because UCF is also coming off a bye and they will be favored and they have a good record at home. I think it's going to be tough sledding this weekend. It'd be great if West Virginia can do it, but I'd give the edge to UCF in Orlando this weekend.
I would have had UCF not played so poorly the last couple games. That's kind of what gives me a little hope.
Well, so the flip side of that, Paul, is they are projected to be in the NCAA tournament, Central Florida right now by the bracketologist. And so they have stakes to get right. Like, it's not like, the smoke is billowing there in Manhattan, Kansas. Like it's and you hope when West Virginia goes there at the end of the season that it's still pluming. But Central Florida's got something to play for, and so you're getting them coming off of a 20-point loss with rest, them wanting to get right. That's not us. Let's get back to what we do. I see that there's two ways to look at it. I like your way. My mind goes to just like the Texas Tech game on Sunday. They are coming off of a loss at home, a home loss to Kansas in a brutal way. They're trying to be, top 3, top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. And so they come back and they make every 3 they shoot, it feels like. So, like, to me, here's the difference for Central Florida is that this is uncharted territory for them as far as being firmly in the tournament by the people that follow this stuff. That's not a normal position for them. If it's a good season, they're on the bubble or trying to get in. And so on your side of it, of being hopeful, is could this be a trend? Like, they've peaked and they are working their way back down to what they could be. My fear is the 3-point shooting in just a matchup standpoint going into Saturday.
I appreciate.
I want you to be right. I want you to be right, Paul. That's my assessment.
Well, I mean, it's a good assessment. I
want you to be right.
I'm not ready to put UCF in the same category as even Baylor or anything because of just history. Like,
That's
I don't
right.
know.
That's
I just
the
don't.
Argument.
That I don't think they're not there yet. So, and I mean, if you want to get into the weeds a little bit, you can even say that, well, I mean, he's been there for 10 years. Maybe Dawkins' voice is getting stale, like, I don't know. It's a big stretch.
No. I want Dawkins to stay. He can stay forever at Central Florida for me. I am pro Dawkins in Orlando.
All right, man. This is Josh Witt from Unreasonable Doubt. Does an awesome job over there. You can check him out on podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can check us out here as well. We probably shouldn't go any further without, mentioning the ladies and the domination they had over UCF as well. Great job by them. A 50-point win. What amazing performance by them. Teron Francis, yes, I know he is hurt. I saw he put it on Instagram earlier. We'll find out more about that, but that's a rough one too. But I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow, depending on what news comes out about it. But Josh, got to roll. Thank you so much for being on here. Guys, make sure you check him out. Make sure you check us out. Share, like, subscribe, the whole 9. And we'll be back on the next one, obviously, tomorrow here on Locked On West Virginia, where we're talking about your team every single day. Make sure you check out Locked On College Football next as well. And we'll see you then. Don't forget to cue those country roads. See you next time.